Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to PSGL Season 28. This is the final round of the F2 Championship, and by tonight, we'll find out who is the F2 Drivers' Champion and Constructors' Champion. And joining me, as per usual, for one final time this season, we got Owen Wyatt. How you doing?
Hello, Jess. Hello, viewers. Welcome along. It is Brazil. It is overcast. This reminds me quite a lot of the F3 Championship a couple of seasons ago. Everyone's rushing out of the pits. For me that day, I was racing. It rained on the coil lap, so that does tend to happen around here. So I do wonder if we're already going to be looking at a very exciting qualifying session for this big season finale.
Yes, and we got 5 people, technically, that can win the title. Unfortunately, the ones that were meant to be here, Hadler and Gill, they can't make it tonight. So we just got 5. So I'll just give you a rundown of who's still in it. So KJ is still leading the championship by 5 points over Banner. Banner had a very good result last week. He was, I believe, 7th in the standings, and he got bumped up to 2nd after his 2nd place last week. Then we've got Gill in 3rd. Obviously, he's not here tonight, so he's out of the running, but he can still get 3rd in the championship if everyone else below him has a mare tonight. Suko is 4th in the standings with Lamakina in 5th. He had glitches last week, unfortunately, with the game, so I'm actually quite relieved that he's still in the championship fight. And Hadler, he's not here tonight, but he's 6th in the standings. And the final person that could be in this fight is Luca with a 12-point gap. So it is really, really close, and literally anyone could do it. It's not like everyone is almost mathematically out of it. It's just all those 5 drivers have a very good shot of winning it. And we literally don't know who's going to win the race, like we've seen in all other races this season, really.
It's another sort of realm into the unknown, isn't it? We really just do not know what we expect. And especially seeing as ever, I don't know why Georges is out on intermediate, and maybe he's a bit too ambitious. I feel that might be into the pit lane. It does feel like they're expecting rain early. Mind you, there's only 14 of them. Maybe it just feels like it's more of them out there, but all getting early lap times in. But yeah, it is just another one of those unpredictable ones. I do still feel bad for Lamakina last week, because it appeared that he was actually driving like normal while we were all watching him reversing in and out of the wall. So it was a pure game problem for him last time. So I do sort of hope he can redeem himself. It would require quite a lot to go his way, though.
Yes, because before he had those problems, he would be technically leading the championship, and we thought that he would be comfortably winning the title tonight, but obviously not. The game just definitely threw a spanner in the works, but hopefully tonight he'll have some better luck and give the likes of Ballina, Eltink and Suko, the ones ahead of him, the run of his money. So Interlagos built in 1940 and first hosted the F1 Championship around this track in 1973, and it's located in the Sao Paulo suburb of Interlagos. That's why it's called Interlagos. And a lot of layouts changed over the years as well, and this is the layout that we see today, of course. And it's one of those tracks where we see many title battles like Lewis Hamilton versus Felipe Massa. We saw in his that Glock moment, kind of similar to what we saw with Vasta Racer in season 26, where Gill won the title in F1. Like, there's so much stuff that has happened as well. Raikkonen won the title around this track as well. It's just an amazing track, and obviously the constructor's still to be decided as well. But since obviously KJ's teammate's not here, he's only the sole Racing Point driver tonight for that team. But to be honest, it takes a bottle for Racing Point to not win the Constructors, even if it's just KJ tonight.
Yeah, I imagine they'll probably win that, because obviously KJ will be thinking about the championship, and that would require a decent finish anyway, so I'm sure Racing Point would probably wrap that up tonight, but you just never know. We always said, every rest of the season, do not make any predictions, because this has to be one of the lowest scoring seasons we've ever actually had on PSGL. That's why there's still 5 people in this lobby who can win the championship. So, yeah, that's just... I've made a prediction. I might retract that one. Maybe they won't win it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to make a prediction as well. I don't usually make predictions in this sense, but a guy who's been very, very consistent. He was in the Pro Exhibition last week as well, so he has talent. He hasn't scored any wins, but he scored the most... Let me just check. He scored 3 pole positions, and he scored 3 podiums as well. Same with the likes of Gill, who's not here tonight. I think Ballina could do it, you know. I think Ballina knows that he needs to have a good result tonight, and he's got the most to gain, and he doesn't have much to lose. If he doesn't win the title, then he's not that bothered. But if KJ doesn't win the title, he's got the most to lose. So I think Banner's going to win tonight, but there's still other people that can do it. Let us know your predictions in the chat. As you've probably seen on Twitter, Greeny's no longer racing in PSGO anymore. I can't remember when it was his final race, but he's no longer league racing in PSGO anymore, taking a step back. We are going to miss him because he's one of the GOAT F2 admins, but we still have CC Brain flying the fort for the F2 guys at the moment. He's currently sitting P9 at the moment. Pole, we're already seeing times in the 106.2s. That was the pole last season. So obviously we have a faster grid compared to season 26 where we last came to Brazil, I believe. So I'm not surprised to see these guys setting a lot quicker lap times. So should be interesting to see. The last time we came to this track, actually Connor actually won the race. So good memories actually. It was actually a good finale, even though we didn't have a championship decider. But 14 drivers, that doesn't mean we're not going to have some good racing, and that's not good for our championship contender. Suko, he's left the session.
Yes, that's not good, especially when he doesn't have a banker time either. Plenty of time to get back in, but that's not the first time we've seen Suko have connection issues, is it, this season? Happened in Spa as well. Required a restart, so I'm hoping it doesn't cause anything like that this time. But, yeah, it's him gone for the moment. I was watching Toss Tomato. He appears to be doing his usual drive around extremely slowly and start from the back. So, yeah, I don't know why I keep watching. Well, he's actually going to crash now if he's not careful, but I don't know why I keep watching him because I know he's not going to do a proper lap. One person who is doing a proper lap, we've got George is out there. Like I say, he went out and entered earlier on. He must have just done that one by accident because the sun has come out now. The rain isn't going to come. Means we're going to get probably 4 flying outs. Everybody, we already had 1 from most. And once you've done those, we're already onto their second lap. So we'll see after George's crosses the line how the rest are doing. I think Namakina had a bit of an accident out of the final proper corner. And he's just heading up the hill now to start a lap. He'd spun, I think, or it's definitely stopped on track. So he might be feeling a little bit of pressure. He needs to get a proper banker in. Ruben up the hill. He's about to finish his lap. He was already P1 and he's gone purple, I think, in the middle sector, if the game's not lying to me. It tends to do, in fairness, but let's see. As he comes up to the line, Ruben, will he improve? No, he's miles off his best time. Ballner sitting P3 at him behind Eltink. Obviously, that's not going to be any good for him in a championship, so he does need to get ahead. Taking the shortest line up to the finish, and he does get ahead of Eltink. So, showing some fight, but Ruben's time seems to be holding at the moment.
Yeah, Ruben is a driver that I've been watching the Brazil times by quite a lot, actually, because he also raced in the PC League last week. He didn't get a good result, but I'm sure he's going to have a fight back into today's race as well, knowing that he's probably fast to beat the top guys anyway. He is reserved, but I'm almost certain he's going to be full-time next season. I won't be surprised if he gets put up in the top tier with how many drivers are moving to PC next season. I know some drivers are, some drivers not, but that makes it more open, of course, as Banner goes into the pits. I don't know how many people are on a lap. Milan McKean is about to finish his lap, and he goes P12 at the moment, so currently almost alternate strategy pole position. He's probably the ones where he needs to score the most points out of anyone in the championship fight in order to get there as well, and all it requires is Balliner and KJ to have rubbish races. If Balliner...
Sorry, I lost. I don't know if you stopped talking or not.
If Balliner actually gets a good result, he needs to actually outscore KJ by 6 points, which is hard to do, but it's not impossible. So we'll obviously do the maths during the stream, and then obviously we'll let you know at the end who becomes champion. One of our other contenders, Luca, comes across the line, and he comes across the line in P6. Interestingly enough, he's been on the lap soft tired for 2 laps, so might mean there could be rain in the race. I don't see anyone that went on the mediums in qualifying, so that could be intriguing to say the least. Wet weather around Brazil, but that always tends to spice things up. But we've had some unpredictable races this season. Bahrain short we started off with. That was very, very good as well. We also had Japan as well. That was brilliant. Obviously Baku last week. Belgium. There were just so many good races this season. Singapore actually stroked to mind as well. Was being another good race as well in the rain. So we don't have to have dry races to make it exciting, but obviously all the drivers hope that it is dry. And who would have thought we got a Mercedes 1-2 of Ruben and Ascom. Ascom hasn't had a good season so far. He's looking to end his season on a high, even though he's not in the championship fight. He's looking to climb. Technically, he can climb high in the championship still. With the grid being so close, so it is not over yet. As we've got 7 minutes left to go. Toxic still on his outlap. Suko has invalidated, sadly, but at least he's still in the session.
Yeah, we've got CC Brain was on a lap. I think he's just abandoned it though. So a few people just sort of sequence at the minute coming to pits. Just one thing about strategy outside the top 10. Obviously, most races you've had nearly full numbers, but only with 14 people there. If it is a dry race, only 4 people will get a free tag choice. That might make it a lot more of an advantage actually, because it means there's less of them to trip over each other. And it could just mean they have a bit more breathing room to make strategies like that work. So do look out if you have any of the championship contenders in that zone. It might not actually be the end of the world as it might have been if with a fuller grid. That's the one advantage they will have. But I think we've got the third set of lap times starting, so we should certainly get 4 by the end. It's Ruben at the minute in his Mercedes. He's been top in the session from his first lap. First sector is up though, so he's looking to try and take that down to at least a 106.1. We'll follow him around the lap as he heads through now. Easy to lose the back end round here, but that might just be because I'm not very good at it. But yeah. That's why I retired, I think. But Ruben seems to be getting through okay. It always looks a little bit on the edge, but as long as it's a good lap time, it doesn't really matter. A few lockups in the middle sector. Won't be fully pleased. We'll see if his middle sector is faster or not, as George's goes faster. Ruben not quite as fast as George's, so we need a properly good last sector just to gain a couple more hundreds. It's a strong time from George's. We're getting closer to 1:05s now. Can Ruben beat that time? He'll certainly get close, I think, judging by the timings. And he does get close, but not close enough. It's a 1 minute 6.9 as well, but just not close enough to Georgia. So that's 2 decent lap times. We'll see if anyone can get close now.
Yeah, I'm impressed with George's at the moment, actually. I think the last time he raced was in Japan, where he didn't do too bad either. So it's nice to see the reserves up there, scoring well for their teams. Obviously, they won't be scoring points for the constructors of reserve drivers, but this will definitely put them on the line next season, obviously when the placements are chosen. For season 29, obviously, because it's a new game, everyone will have to do the evaluation races. So you may be good at this game, but you may not be good at the next game. So it's good to set a benchmark anyway before you go into the new game cycle. Not that long to go before the beta opens as well. So it's nice that the season gets out of the way pretty quickly, and then the ones who are lucky enough to have the beta, they could test a few things out and they don't have to worry about turning up to PSG on Monday because the season would have already been over. Luca comes across the line to start his lap as well. I think Luca's another one of those drivers who needs a miracle. I think he's one of the only drivers apart from Ballina, I believe, who hasn't had a win out of the Championship 5 at the moment. So he could be a miracle, to be honest. Gasly got P2 around Brazil, so I wonder if an AlphaTauri could get P2 around here. All it would take is any of the other championship contenders to have a mare of a race for Luca to stay in it. I want it to be surprises around here, but it probably might not happen. Ascom is about to finish his lap in the Mercedes, who is not that far behind his teammates. 2 temps, and there's a yellow flag. Someone has probably gone off. It's a Red Bull. It might be Suku, actually. Yes, it is, as he goes into the pits. So Ascon comes across the line at 107.7, so he did not improve.
Yeah, it was Luca actually. He'd went off. He'd hit the wall. He'd spun in the middle sector. So yeah, we'll need that miracle maybe if he can get a cleaner lap in. The problem is, we've said it all season, haven't we? It's just a close grid, so mistakes are quite big. But as we get ready for the final runs, I'm expecting quite the rush here because everyone's pretty much in the pits. Ascom actually is doing another lap. I think he's up in the first sector. Didn't expect this one from him. Because it did look a bit weird. He was on a lap before and he'd seemingly abandoned it early. You can see his ERS is quite low. I don't know if he's going to run out on the way up the hill. Well, no, not run out, but just lose a bit of engine power. I do suspect he will still abandon this, if I'm honest with you. But it is still purple. But it won't gain him any positions. It's not gaining him any positions, this, and I think the ERS will just start to lose power on the way up the hill. If I were him at the pit, yeah, he is going to pit. Maybe we're just taking the quickest way back to the pits, but certainly showing he's got some potential pace out there. And Elting, I believe, he is going to be the first one out, so the championship leader is going to lead the rest out as we get ready for the final runs, Jess.
Yeah, exactly. And if it stays as it is at the end of the race, then technically Banner would be champion. So KJ needs to get a move on, even though it's how very, very close as it is as well. And I won't be surprised if we see drivers in the 105s, I would say. I think Georges and Banner not too far. Ruben as well, probably close to 1 minute 5s as well. Hopefully we're going to see it on the last ever race on this PSGL game cycle. Don't forget we've got the other tiers going on right now, as well as F1 Championship decider later on. But this is what we got to worry about at the moment, with still 5 people left in this fight, as Benny decided he's no longer wanted to take part in qualifying. We got Lucas, who's filling in tonight in the Williams. I think he's replacing either Hadler or Antoine. It may be one of them, but he's replacing one of the Williams drivers anyway. Did very well in Japan. I believe he won that race, and looking to score another win this season in the final race. That would be a good championship finale. That is Williams' compatriot in Baku, obviously, that he had the one last week. Could we see another Williams win this week, as he's about to start a lap? Interestingly, CC Brain and Lamborghini are in the pit, so I'm guessing they would want to be the last to go out on their laps. But I think that's what I would do with the track involvement around here, because it's getting more grippier by the lap. So we'll see what happens, of course. We'll follow KJ first, as he is invalidated, unfortunately. So what a shame for KJ, but I think he should have time for one more lap.
Yeah, he's got time. He'll be all right. I hope. He should have the fuel. But we'll see how he gets on. Passing him there was Ballner. He's going to have the Mercedes there. Going off the track of Ascon, so that's not going to get in his way. Ballner, as well as George and Ruben on a 106.0. Will any of them be able to dip into the 1 minute 5s? Will anyone behind them be able to do so? Ballner will be the first one across the line to finish his lap, so he might well be the one to set the benchmark. We'll see what his split time is through that middle sector. And he's abandoned it. He's abandoned it, so another one abandoning their laps. He's going to save as much ERS as he can, and then go for it again on the hill. So who would be next then? I think there's an Alpha Tauri, might be George. He's also abandoned. None of them really interested in doing their lap on this attempt, I guess. So they're all gonna double dip here. They're all gonna go again. So extra pressure on them, really. They've had 2 Saito laps, and KJ Eltig is going to start again. So let's see if he gets away without invalidating this time. I wonder if he's going to take that first chicane a little bit more easily. Might have cost him a little bit of time, just with that general fear of getting a lap lost. I think Ballner's actually given up. He might have invalidated again. He has. So that's his qualifying over. Elting's qualifying over as well. The drivers are really succumbing to the pressure at the moment. What about George's? He's just about keeping it on the track. He is still going, but again, a bit like I was saying with the Mercedes earlier, might have a little bit of a trouble with the ERS at the end of the lap, and he doesn't matter for him. He's invalidated either. They're all invalidating, Jess. We said about Ascom, he seemed to have a little bit of pace earlier on his second try on a set of tires. This is his first try. He's kept it all valid so far. And with all the front runners around him losing their time, this could possibly be an opportunity for him. But he's very slidey on the way out of that last corner. I wonder if he'll lose time at the hill. We'll see. No one has crossed the line yet to finish the lap. The checkered flag is out. Ascom will be the first. He currently sits P4. His teammate ahead of him in P3. And Ascom will stay in P4 behind. There is Georges, who obviously was invalidated. Lamborghini has not improved, so he will start at very worst 13th, very best 13th, should say. Suko up to 4th, decent time from him. We've got Luca coming through, he's invalidated. Fabi, he's into the pit lane. A lot of laps not happening here. Lucas as well. And then Ruben too. Toxic Tomato, he never really sets lap times, so he will not set one either. And CC Brain is slow as well, and that does mean that George is on that, what, third run was it for him? Has gone pole position, because no one actually improved really that much on their last times, apart from Suko, really. And that was about it, I think.
Yeah, no one managed to get into the 1 minute 5s, which is what I was probably not expecting. I thought one person would have gone there, but I think it's just the pressure. If you don't get a good run into turn 2 and 3, then you're probably going to invalidate it roughly about there, as that's what a majority of drivers have done today. But it's nice to see a different pole position. I don't think Georges has ever got pole position, so it's nice to see a different one, a different person at the top. Balliner in P2 as well, so could be interesting for the championship, of course. And I do agree with Stephen in the chat, F2 does look different every season, and this season is no different. So we'll go through your qualifying results. The top 13 separated by 7/10 of a second, so it's a very close qualifying. Georges, Ballina, Ruben, Suko, Ascom, Lucas, KJ, Fabi, Luca and Fenny in the top 10. Now we've got CC Brain, Benny, Lamborghini and Toxic round up your grid. I don't have to scroll too much today. And with the amount of drivers going on more than one lap on the soft tyres, I'm going to predict there's going to be a wet start to the race.
You know what? I'm gonna agree with you. I hope it's a wet start because that would just shake it up really a lot, wouldn't it? And it would be the theme of the season, really, rain. So I'm gonna cross my fingers. It's not raining, but it's overcast again, Jess. It's overcast again. Maybe we will get that rain. Maybe just not right at the start, but overcast is quite the image, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite the theme in Brazil as well. Most races I've seen have been overcast as well, and it's unpredictable for the commentators, for the spectators as well, to really decide on who's going to do well here as well, because some people may not find the mediums too good at the start, so maybe people starting on the softs would be the best option. And speaking of strategy, it's either soft to medium or soft to hard, but with this high caliber grid, I won't be surprised if the top 10 will do soft to mediums, and the ones outside the top 10, they get obviously free choice. They will most likely start on the mediums, and then they could decide on what tyres they go on afterwards. Would it be the hards or would it be the softs as well? There is known for a safety car to always either ruin or help proceedings as well. So we've seen Sebastian Vettel win the title with him making mistakes in 2012. We could see it happening. Even if people spin out, that doesn't mean that they're out of the woods yet for the title. So we'll just get the tyres on screen for you, as everyone outside the top 10, as I thought, is starting on the medium compounder tyres. A smart move, I think, from what you said earlier.
Yeah, if it's not going to rain, then that is definitely the strategy to be on, because you've got really nothing to lose inside the top 10, considering there's only 4 drivers out there, and they're a very good grid, so you'd expect them not to end up in all sorts of accidents. So those 4 should have a lot less sort of pressure on them to make this work. Just means they're going to get in amongst the front runners, and Lamborghini, of course, is going to have to do a lot of work. Currently sitting P6 in the championship, although with Gilmore here, he's technically sort of the 5th in line to take the title today. We can see if he can do it. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the others can do. Obviously, George is on pole. VRT driver, Ballner, also a VRT driver. Will there be some sort of team play there? Will he be aware of the situation at hand? Because Ballner, right now, probably would actually have a decent chance at the championship, but the 4 extra points you'd get from 2nd to 1st, he'd certainly be looking at if he can get it. So we'll see what he can do. But as you say, Jess, it's 5 different drivers in this.
Yes, indeed. I think Ballina would win the title if he stayed like this in the race, with KJ in 7th place as well, which would help in. And Ballina has not won a race this season, so we're going to probably have a first title winner to do that as well. And yeah, interesting you brought up the team orders as well, as we got some esports teams in there. Technically, KJ is in the same esports team as Ballina and Georges as well, so I wonder who Georges will choose to help. Will it be Ballina or KJ? We'll have to wait and see as well. Regarding the other championship contenders, they're not in any esports team, so they don't have any effect, but they do have their teammates as well in the constructors, so that should be interesting. And we're about to start the final race of season 28 and the final race on the game cycle.
Yes, it's been a long, long year, but it's all going to come down to this for these guys. When these 5 lights go out, Georges and Ballner are on the front row. And the season finale is underway. Looks like a decent start from Ruben, in fact. He might well get alongside Ballner. Let's see how much he wants to defend it. He's going to fly out the inside of Georges. Potential for contact. Bit of ghosting's going to help them through there. It's happened quite a few races this season. And again, it's helping them get through that first corner. Georges, good defending actually, not to lose his cool when he saw the Haas flying on the inside. Will he try again out towards the City of Lago? No, he will not. Few of them going side by side. Looks like Elting's up into P5, which is getting him closer towards championship position. I think that'd be worth about 6 points to him at the moment, compared to Ballner's 12, so it would be quite close. Can Elting have a go at Suko? Is looking on the back of him, but I believe they're all being very well behaved in this first lap. Lamborghini's already made just 1 place, but it's already the 2nd in line of the Ultra Strategy drivers. He'll be looking to get CC Brain very quickly indeed.
Yeah, he's looking very good so far. He may be slow off the line, but when he gets towards the end of the race, he's going to be on softer tyres. So watch out for this Alfa Romeo driver at the end of this race. He wants to try something different. He wants to see if there's any other people that makes mistakes as well. Unfortunately, there's blue
Banner
flags
leads
everywhere, and as Banner does lead into turn 1 quite comfortably, actually, as he got past before turn 1 and not even DRS because it's not activated into turn 3. So Banner looking very confident. I wonder if Georges has let Banner through to help him with his championship. I think he has personally as well. So that will allow Banner to have a really comfortable gap right now. If it stays that it is, KJ, I believe, will have to finish 3rd if Banner finishes P1 in order to claim the championship. But we will keep you up to date as the scenario progresses as well on where your favourite drivers stand in terms of the championship, of course, whereas only 5 drivers are still in this as well. The reserve drivers could come into play, even Fabi as well, helping his teammate as well. Loads of people could just ruin the party of all these drivers right now, and I'm surprised no one has went off yet. Even these tricky sets of corners coming up here as well, before the 3rd sector. Usually people go off there as well, but this is a championship you got to think about. This means business, so I think a lot of drivers are definitely taking it seriously here tonight. They don't want to make mistakes because otherwise they could be out of it as well. Luke is not doing a good job, but he is scoring a point if he stays like this as well. No drives are on penalties either, so and he's even Stevens, of course, as Banner sets the fastest lap, so he's already pulling away from Georges. Elting is looking to get past Suko as he's saying purple in the final sector. Hopefully it's not the game lying to us, but DRS is enabled now, so we could see the overtakes, but there is a DRS train emerging, so it could be who blinks first is my question, really, to be honest. But KJ can't get past in turn 4 on this lap, though.
Yeah, LaMarquina had put himself onto P11 on the last lap. He's now going to try and pressure Luca in front. And nearly went off the track, though, at turn 4. He is seemingly pushing quite hard, trying to get up there as quickly as possible. There isn't a massive rush. It is only lap 3. But as you say, with a DRS train, moves might become quite difficult. I do wonder how long KJ Elting is going to sit behind Suko for, because he can see Ballner up in front of him. He knows where he needs to get to, and he's not there at the moment. He literally needs to be up in 2nd place if Ballner wins this thing. So he does have to get a move on. But again, not the end of the world if he isn't there right now. It's just all about the end of the race. But they've all got to be thinking about that. Lap 36, not lap 4. That's not the main priority. You got to get to the end first and then worry about where you are then, because it's happened so often where some people just go too early and it goes completely wrong for them.
Yes, to finish first, you first have to finish. So even if you make a move now and then if you make a mistake later, then it's probably hindered your chances and practice, and that's not looking good for LaMarquina, as we just said that. So he's got a 3-second time penalty, which will be added to the end of this race. I won't be surprised if we get any more time penalties from these drivers. I wonder if some drivers are close enough to get in their first penalty of the race. And around this track as well, if you get your first penalty, I think it's sometimes really hard to possibly get more, probably stay within that penalty window and probably get just 1 penalty or even off none. So these drivers are probably keeping it as clean as they possibly can right now as well. Still not people making the moves yet, but it's going to be a while before these drivers go into the pits, round about lap 9 to 12 or if they want to go on the hards, or a bit later on around lap 15, 16 if they want to go onto the medium tyres. So I wonder what these drivers will be thinking. Will they be playing the long game, or will they be thinking about the undercut? It's just a quite difficult situation to be in. I don't know what I would do, but that's why I'm in the commentary box rather than racing around this track, of course. But Banner's still voting well, and he's on track to be getting his first win of the season, and what a track to do, of course. But he's thinking about the long game as well. He's not making too many mistakes, and he was actually, I think he was actually qualified quite well in the last race last season as well. So he usually tends to do well in the last race of the season, but to be honest, he's got more to fight for, to be honest. And George is still keeping on in touch with him and staying in P2. Ruben in P3 as well. It's just nice to see different drivers up there as well, but we're only on lap 5. Anything could happen. We could still see rain. There's still dark clouds in the sky, but it could stay overcast for the whole of it. It may be Cody's trying to trick us.
Yeah, typical Brazil that, isn't it? Just will tease us the whole time. I do worry about LaMarquina's penalty. As you say, there's a good potential for quite a lot of these drivers around him to not get any penalties. I remember the F3 Championship a couple of seasons ago when I won it. It was a bit similar to this, where it was just a DRS train the whole race. Luckily, the front runners haven't come across that problem yet, but even if you're setting fast as that's like Elting, you will most likely be stuck in this train all day. It's nearly impossible to pass here. You wouldn't think it, but It is so difficult, and a single penalty shuffles you up a few positions if you don't get one. It's as simple as that. So that's what they're going to be thinking about. The train is almost an inevitability here, and you can see the entire pack has been in the whole race. So yeah, I do worry about Lamborghini. That could already be his chances gone. He needs this strategy to work out perfectly and then some, because I really doubt the rest are going to get penalties. But look, you never know. Pressure could get to the others, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. He's fourth. Sorry.
Just finished, especially this early as well. It's like, what was it, lap 4 or 5 he got it? That's the real worry for him, because it could happen again if he's getting them this early. But Eltink has gone off, or has he had an issue? He's very slow. I don't know if he's reset the track or something. He might have had a little slide. Seems to be some dirt on his rear tyre, so I think he might have had a bit of a spin. He's fallen down the pack to 10th place. And that is just making his debut. He had just set the fast of that, so he was clearly pushing. I wonder if he was pushing a bit too hard.
I think that's huge for the championship as well. That may allow the likes of Suko as well to jump up in the championship and even be ahead of Eltink as well. So the pressure is getting to Eltink right now as well. And that means Banner just needs to keep it clean right now, because Banner's going to find it even hard to get past his championship rival. His next championship rival is right in front of him. That is Luca at this moment in time. And I don't think he's worrying about Luca, because obviously Luca, one of the ones who got the most to gain out of this situation, because he needs to score more points than all of his championship rivals combined. And at the moment, 2 of his championship rivals are ahead of him. So it's not going to be good for him, as Toxic gets another penalty, but he's last anyway. But he's still in that train, still no one going into the pits right now. It's like the drivers have been practicing a lot. They have been doing lobbies today as well, and it is bank holiday in the UK anyway, so probably a lot of people have put some practice in today. So I can tell who has practiced and who has not, but no signs of people deciding to think about their next strategies yet. But Ruben's looking very, very good on the back of George, but again, he's not quite close enough with the DRS, unfortunately. George's got quite close on Banner. Luca gets passed by KJ. KJ's up into 9th, so he is having a comeback at least. But is it too little too late for Mr. Eltink?
Did you worry for Eltink now, and Luca in fact, it's the fact that these medium runners, particularly CC3 and Benny, who don't have any penalties, are still right on them. I do think overcut will work for them, because they will be on the quicker tyres in the second stint. And so that's the main problem they have, I think, those two. Good news, I guess, though, is that Fabi's just fallen outside DRS, as has Fenny, so that could be 2 easy positions for those two. And that would get them up into 7th and 8th, so they need to really focus on that before the pit window opens in the next sort of 5 to 6 laps.
Yeah, it does depend on what tyres they go on, really, to be honest, on whether they think about the pit window as well. And to be honest, I agree with people most likely going for the undercut. They want to go for the medium tyres as well. And they may be pressure with people going on to the hards as well, because they may think the undercut's more powerful. We'll find out very soon. KJ and Eltink and Fenny go for the move, and KJ's up into 8th, so he's gaining ever so slightly at the moment. So he's picking up the pace a little bit as well. He's not letting the mistake earlier on get to him, and that's very important with his championship hopes. He's the one who's at top of the standings before tonight as well. So at the end of the day, if he finishes ahead of all of his rivals, he's champion. But at the moment, he's doing not quite enough to actually claim the championship title, which is a bit of a shame right now, as he's gained 1 win this season. He's been the most consistent out of all the drivers, but to be honest, only little mistakes count around here. We saw that in many championship deciders long gone by, both in real life and in PSGL. So KJ will need to gain about 1.4 seconds on Fabi. But Fabi's not that far behind Ascom, so we could see the DRS train growing and growing. But I'm seeing what Georges can do on the back of Banner once again. Don't forget, this is for the lead of the race, as we got another yellow flag. I believe that's Toxic Tomato that's had a bit of a spin. Yes, it is. So he is out the DRS train now. George is again not quite close enough, so he can't get the move done on Banner. So this is going to be very, very interesting before the pit stops. Someone has got to blink now, surely, because otherwise that's not going to help them in the pit stop phase. Maybe Ruben's going to make the blink, or maybe Lucas actually on Suku. Is he going to get the left-hand side into turn 4? Nope, he does not, but he was very, very close, actually. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, he got close. He didn't get as close as Ruben did though on the last lap. I don't think we were watching it. He had tried going right round outside of George's in turn 1. They were making contact. It was very, very exciting, but it didn't quite make it stick. And I wonder if that's why Suko and Lucas have just got on the back of it, because they were trying to both get by Balliner too. They had all just got a bit too close. I do think as well, by the way, it might still be a bit early, as Suko does go to the inside of Ruben, and he's going to be on the outside on that run down the hill. I wonder if he might just back that off. Don't get involved in an accident, but I do think they might be a little bit early for pit stops. I'd be surprised if anyone comes in, because if you come in now it would be for hards. I don't think these guys really need to look at the hards, to be honest with you. But we'll see if anyone decides to do it as they come through. But I do think it would be looking more sort of lap 13 onwards, something around that to look for it. Or maybe even lap 12, but I think right now a bit early. Elting though, he is going to do it.
Oh!
He's speeding though. Speed into the pit lane. Saying that cost a few people championships in the past, but let's see what tire he goes on to. Does he think that mediums will get him there? No, he's going to go for hards. I don't know about that. Especially with the penalty as well that he's just picked up. I'm not sure that's the right idea for him.
Well, he's going to hope for a safety car. I've seen around Brazil people that go onto the hards win the race, so it's not over for Mr. Elting here as well, but he's down in last place right now as well, and he's going to hope other drivers make a mistake, but I think it's more damage limitation for Elting as well, I think, with the way he's pitted and with that speeding in the pit lane penalty, unless there's a safety car. The 5 seconds will be added to the end of his race time, which is not ideal, and he'll have to serve it when he gets into the pits if he pits again. So I think KJ just could not afford to make any mistakes now. He's got clear air, luckily at the moment. He's not that far behind Toxic, but Toxic is also having a bit of a mare as well. So a bit of a shame for KJ right now that he has to go to this strategy, but he's doing all that he can right now to try and make sure the championship goes to him and not Balliner, of course, as Luca goes into the pits. I'm guessing he's going to go on the hards as well, as there's no way that Memes can get to the end from this point, and I do see white striped hard tyres about to go on his car, and he does. Luckily, he doesn't get speeding in the pit lane penalty, so all is good for Luca. I wonder if he's going to get ahead of Elting, as Elting comes across the line towards turn 1, and what about Luca? He exits the pit lane. It's going to be tight. I think KJ will just be ahead of him. I'm not entirely sure. But it does not matter, I think, for Elting if Luca is ahead of him. So, because obviously there's a big gap between Elting and Luca in the championship. But Elting undercut works even with that speeding in the pit lane penalty. So, not too bad. But interestingly, why those two gone for the hards, we'll find out that's worked at the end of the race.
Yeah. Lamborghini, interestingly, got by Fenny, and look how much time Fenny's lost. I do wonder if those softs are starting to go off and mediums are coming into their own. This is the phase of the race where Lamborghini really does have to be pretty much driving at his absolute best, because this is quite a big gap up to that top 7. Realistically, he's got to start to close that gap and see what he can do. He's put a second on Fenny, so he doesn't have to worry about any DRS there. Fenny had picked up a penalty while trying to fight him actually on the exit, just here where he's coming through turn 3, but I don't think there's any sort of contact or anything to worry about, as CC Brain now is to go by Fenny. Nearly contact, as Fenny does move across, but CC Brain's through, and there's another little tap as well through the corner, but they're all okay. It's just fighting for the lower positions. 2 drivers on the mediums, passing the driver on softs, and like Benny's just going to try and make it 3, so yeah, it does feel like softs are maybe starting to fall off a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're heading to the crossover point, I think, Owen, as well, with the softs versus the memes as well. I think we'll watch Lamborghini as well if he close enough to Fabi enough, or maybe Fenny was pushing enough too much on his tyres at the start of the race, and then that probably got to him, and that's allowed Benny and to properly catch up as well. But luckily, Toxic Tomato is a little bit further away than the likes of Fenny, so that's not too bad, but he doesn't want Benny to get ahead, because Fenny hasn't scored a point all season. He's looking for Brazil to be one of them as well. I wonder if Fenny would go on the hards. If I was him, he's almost outside the top 10 now, but we've got Fenny trying to cover him off into turn 1. You've got to get a good run in turn 1 to have a good run into turn 2 and 3 in the center S's. Benny just about has it on Fenny, and Fenny's now outside of the points, and Benny is up into P10 in the points right now. So he's the only Ferrari driver at the moment, but still doing quite well, of course, as well. So, yeah, he's in 10th, and he's going to try and catch up to CC Brain as well on the same amount of tyres as well. Lamborghini, though, still your leading medium alternate strategy runner as well, still faring quite well. He's getting towards the 2-second margin of Fabi, so it's going to be a few more laps actually before the soft runners go on to the mediums. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I do wonder if anyone in this top 7 is looking at undercuts. It might be coming up in the next couple of laps. We'll see, because look at George's. He's just fallen right off the back of Ballner, and that's Ballner pitting. Ruben as well, Suko too, Lucas, and Fabi, Ascom, and Georges. They all stay out those three, so they will continue to lead the race. We'll see how these guys do in the pits. All for mediums, I'm assuming. Don't see why it would be for anything else. Mediums. How about the other two? Mediums as well. So yeah, all on mediums. Ballner obviously will come out in the head of that field, and shouldn't have any issues with Toxic Tomato and Eltink behind. Even though Eltink did an undercut on them all, he was just a bit too far behind to make anything work on all that. Toxic Tomato though, and Eltink, actually Eltink is kind of Lucas, so you know he might well be back in that train. Maybe not near the front of it, but it's just that penalty he's got now. That's going to really be quite the problem for him. And we'll see if Lucas tries to get by him quickly as well. Because obviously, mediums versus hard, you'd expect the yellow marked tires to be a lot better.
Yeah, at this stage, compared to the softs and the hards, well, the worn softs and the new hards, the mediums, the new mediums will be a lot better, I would say, for Lucas. So if Lucas doesn't get the move done now, then he's going to be held up for so long. The tyres will go hot, particularly on the rears around there, and it will be an absolute nightmare for him. So it's going to be difficult with this mini train as we've got the remaining soft runners going into the pits. It'll be interesting to see if the undercut does work for the likes of Ballner, but we are seeing the battle with Luca and Lucas.
Oh,
and Luca,
no, that's an accident, and straight out of the race goes Lucas.
So Lucas
is 3 wide on the way in that final corner, and that is his race over. I don't
that's going to help Georges. That's going to help Georges in the pit lane.
Everyone coming out of the pit lane. There's 3 of them in there, remember. Ascom might just get ahead of Ballner here. That's a position that he might regret losing. Fabi as well has put himself ahead of Suko, and Eltink. Well, Eltink, I think he's got damage from that accident because he was certainly a part of it. I'm surprised he's not actually out of it. We've gone green once again as Fabi, he is ahead of Suko. I saw the position change there for a second, but Eltink, his championship with that accident might well have just been effectively ended, unfortunately.
Yeah, because of Eltink, that means we'll have to do a little bit more maths to find out who actually is the champion. So, but it makes things more interesting, doesn't it? The championship lead has changed quite a lot this season, and we could have a championship winner that has never led the championship this season win the title. We've seen that with Sebastian Vettel 2010 in Abu Dhabi. We could see it here in Brazil as Benny gets past CC Brain into turn 1. Nicely done from him up into second on the road as well. Lamborghini could still be in this fight as well with the train still growing as well. But yeah, this is not where Ballner wants to be at this stage, but it may not hurt him too much because obviously we got KJ's 5-second penalty. Ballner does not have any penalty. I wonder if Ballner has any warnings though, because if he has any warnings, he's probably going to be in a lot of trouble as well. But you know, the VSC was not his fault. It was the guys behind him as well. But I hope that's not a Crashgate scenario, which I don't think it is anyway. As Fenny goes into the... No, Topsy goes in the pit, sorry. As he goes on to soft tyres. That's a bit early to go on the softs. Is he doing a 2-stop? I don't know. Or he just wants to have a little bit of fun. Those softs will definitely not make it to the end. We've got more than 16 laps to go of this race.
Well, he had to pick because he was involved in that accident. I think that accident all sort of unintentionally started with him because they ended up 3 wide. I think that's sort of... I don't know quite how they all managed to make contact, mind you, 3 wide, but they did. And Elting's about to find himself in that 3 wide situation once again, if he's not careful, as Luca and Fenny close. What does KJ do? Because he's got the front line down. If he pits, it's over. But if he stays out, he'll get overtaken by everyone, and it'll be over as well. As Luca goes through, Fenny will not be too far behind as well. He's actually hit him. That's, well, not going to help him with too much, but I'm imagining he will get through soon. It's just such a bizarre incident.
Yeah, it is as well. I was on the onboard shot, so I didn't really see the 3 wide as well. And they touch again into turn 4. I mean, I can tell KJ has got damage, but he's fighting every moment to try and get past as well because he still knows that he could still potentially win this championship, because you never know. Anyone else can make a mistake. It's important that you do not give up in these scenarios, and it's definitely not. And it looks like Fenny could squeeze past him as well. It's going to be close, as we got Lucas in the chat right now. He's not a happy bunny at all. We could see a trip to the stewards. I won't be surprised with that incident. They were crashing on the straight, for goodness sake, but that's why you don't go 3 wide in the final corner, as Fenny is so much faster than KJ, even on, obviously KJ on the hards, but we'll see. The Delta is definitely a lot different. KJ cannot afford to pit right now, as you said, so he comes across the line now, and Fenny just squeezes past. Again, a little bit of a love tap, I think, from both of them as well. KJ tries to get a better line into turn 2 and into the center S's now. Heading towards turn 3. KJ's hungry for this as well. He knows his chance is not over. Heading towards turn 4. He's still going side by side right now. Fenny wants to get his first point of the season, and he's doing all he can to try and get the first point of the season for him. Fenny gets P11. KJ still in P12, but for how long? They're still going side by side past turn 5 and 6, and KJ goes off. I think this could be championship done and dusted if he makes these type of mistakes.
Yeah, that's desperation for you. He stayed side by side as long as he could have, and he's going back up the inside as well. It's just no way through. Lamachina, by the way, that's a bit arc. He's speeding. He's a bit earlier than I thought he would be for the pits, but he's just sped in there anyway.
Oh.
I was gonna say, and it will still give him longer on the sauce at the end, but god, the penalty, what's that, 8 seconds now? That could be his championship heading down the drain as well, because he needs a bit of a miracle now. But I don't think we can focus on the leading train again, or soon to be leading train. Obviously, CC Brain's still the pit, but these guys are all still very close. And there's a yellow flag.
Eltink.
Eltink, yeah. And there's number 1, Benny. I hope they haven't collided again.
Oh, God.
And Benny comes out. Oh, that could be a safety car. They're not careful. Benny's very angry. I think he's hit the wall. Either in frustration or just mistakes, but he's got half front wing left. I don't see him getting a point if he keeps hitting the walls like that. In fact, yeah, he's just giving up.
And he's retired on track as well. And
yeah, well, luckily there's no next race to get a penalty for.
But the penalty points do get carried over, I think, for next season. So he's got to be careful for that. So he's probably...
That's come big slide. Sorry, I've got to interrupt there, because I wonder if Ruben's going to try and go through there, because the Mercedes was nearly on the wall, and it's going to be 2 Mercedes now fighting away. Ballner will be very interested in this, because he's going to want to try and take any advantage he can out of these guys, as Ruben flies down the inside, and they're both looking on the back of the AlphaTauri. George is still wheel binding through the corner, almost dragging themselves around. Ballner wasn't quite able to get close enough, but it feels to me like Ruben's not quite done yet, but he hasn't got the ERS to fight it. And Lamachina has retired. He is out of the race. So that is definitely his chance over it. KJ's into the pits. What will his fate be? I imagine he'll just put another set of tyres on and really just sort of hope for a safety car, hope for the best. Hope he doesn't get lapped. I think he'll be alright with that one, but man, he is in such a terrible position, unfortunately.
But at the end of the day, his chance is not over, because if the likes of Banner, Suko make a mistake and bin it, he's leading the championship, Eltink. So if any one of those two don't get points, KJ could still win it. So I'm not surprised that he's still in this race, as we've still got more fights. The DRS train is growing right now as well. Suko is in a very good position as well to get claimed P2 in his championship, with Eltink being low down as well. So Suko must be loving life, and he maybe want to try and get past Fabi as well. But Banner was looking quite good. Is he a little bit too further back to get past? He is right now as well. Ruben, though, does have a penalty, so Banner will get P3 on the road. As it stands, if the championship was to end like this, well, if the race was to end like this, Banner will be your champion, but obviously we still got quite a bit of this race to go right now. But we are down to, obviously, 4 runners in this championship. We got Luca, we've got KJ, we got Banner, and we got Suka. We've lost Lamachina from this race, and he had an outside chance to win the title anyway. So, but at least we could just focus on 4 drivers and not 7 now. So, one less driver to worry about, of course. But we still don't know who's going to win this race, and we could see a different... I think we're almost certain going to get a different winner, believe it or not, because the ones who have won this season already, apart from Suka, of course, have fallen way down the order or either retired. So That'll be nice to end the season on a high, of course. Banner still close again. This is just spidey stuff. They're running out of ERS as well. We did see Banner flash the yellow warning light as well, so he is on the limit with his fuel gauge at the moment. So he is definitely pushing, I think.
Yeah, he will be pushing. I'm just looking at the Challenger standings. Obviously, I forget how low the point scoring actually is when Balner sits in 4th place, because obviously that's only 8 points, isn't it? So Elting, where would he have to be? Didn't he have to actually get P8, wouldn't he, to be back in this? So, yeah, I guess that's why he still has a chance. He would need a bit to go wrong, but guess what? Fabi's just throwing it down the inside, and suddenly Balner is only winning this championship by a point now. He's only scoring, what, 6 points now? Another car gets by is in, what, Suko? And that would throw this upside down, because then Suko would have to really get inside the road. This really isn't over yet. That overtake has probably, it's caught me off guard. I didn't expect Balner to get overtaken so easily. But now, if Suko gets him, then KJ, despite the fact he sat there in P11, I think would still win the championship.
It reminds me of Sebastian Vettel 2012. Are we going to see KJ do a Sebastian Vettel win the title even after all those troubles that goes on as well? And I think KJ's probably relieved that he's not given up and not retired. So there's still a long way to go of this race, of course. But Banner is still not giving up hope as well.
Look at Suko. He's all
going to try
over
and go for the move. Banner may lose the championship if Suko gets the move. And he gets the move done. Suko, what a job there. I think, as it stands, Elting would be leading this championship, so that's not good for Banner, of course. Banner may not know what's going on with the championship. There may be Jeff's doing some maths behind the scenes as well, but this is championship costly, that move, I think, for Banner, so that is not good. But I think that VSC did not help him earlier on either, so he was in the lead earlier on, but now he is not. This is going to get very, very spicy, to say the least, as well, but I have a feeling now this championship's going to go down to the wire. I'm almost certain now after what's happening. No one else at the front is making major mistakes, and obviously George could win his ass congregates best result of the season as well. I did say Fabi would be a source of trouble in this race. He could be the one that maybe decides this championship as well, but Banner's just a little bit too further back to do anything about it. And don't forget, LT has served all his penalties as well, so we could see a safety car that could get KJ back in this. It's still open. We only had VSCs, I believe, in this race, so I think Banner may just save the best till last, but I'm a bit worried for Banner right now as Benny gets past Luke up into P7, so a lot of changes in this championship right now, and I think the drivers are almost certainly in VRT are definitely getting a bit tense with their drivers right now.
Well, the situation is with Suko, who's 8 points off KJ, he would be scoring 8 points actually, because Ruben will obviously have that penalty to take, and then Balner would take 6 points. So actually Balner would end up ahead still of KJ by a point. To Suko, what he needs to do is he needs to get by Fabi, really, and that would get him onto 10 points on the podium and hope that Fabi doesn't get overtaken by Balner. I think that's what Suko would need to do to take the championship. So I guess we could try and run the numbers on that one, but I think Suko, if he gets Fabi, that should be the championship for him as long as nothing else changes. And that's what he should be looking for now. As you can see, the leaders are all moving about, not really going for any overtakes, but they are all just sort of moving about, seeing what they're all doing. Suko has a decent run out of turn 2 and 3, but yeah, he's going to really just hope for a Fabi mistake. He's shown his aggression, taking the chance on Balner when it appeared, so I'm sure when the same happens for Fabi, he'll do the same thing and make his move.
Yeah, don't forget Suko at the start of the season, in the first few races, he started as a midfield driver, and all we're seeing now is him fighting for the championship. He's going to be on for P2 of the championship as well, which is, if you think about it, I would have not predicted this as well after the first 2 races. So it just shows for Suko that you don't give up as well. So Suko would definitely need to get past Fabi. I will do the maths in about a few laps' time, because if I do the maths now, the positions will most likely change all over the place. So I'll wait towards the end to do the maths. But Suko is looking quite comfortable. Same with Banner as well. KJ, I think, as it stands, will drop down to 3rd. And why is KJ pitting? I did say if he pits now, he'll be in trouble, but he's on the softs anyway. I'm almost...
Still fastest lap?
Yeah, maybe, because the fastest lap could decide things as well. And I think there's certain situations, like if people were to get fastest lap, it may not affect the countback. And if Banner and KJ were to tie on points, then KJ would win on countback, because obviously KJ has won a race, whereas Banner has not. Meanwhile, we had Ascom trying to get the move on Georges. Couldn't quite do it. Don't forget, Banner and Suku is still in that train, so still plenty to decide. By the way, guys, massive shout out to the viewers who are listening as well. Probably the highest record we've seen in F2 this season. Thank you for that. Someone's gone off. That is Toxic. He's had a mare once again, and yeah, that's not good. That could decide if KJ gets a point or not. I wonder if Toxic will give up. I won't be surprised if he does, as KJ's still in this race, of course. There's just so many things happening. It's hard to keep on top of course, but we still don't know who's going to claim the championship. We still don't know who's going to claim Ruben. The constructors, but we got a movement for Ruben, who's going to try and possibly get the move on Ascom. That could mean massive in terms of personal glory, because he's a reserve driver. This is almost a touch. Contact. They made contact. Ruben, don't forget, has a penalty as well, so I wonder why Ruben went for the move, but he wants to try and get the gap as close as he can as well. Here comes Ascom as well, a little bit too further back. Fabi could get the move, and KJ has got a 3-second time penalty. It may not affect him in the long run, but when there's a safety car, if there's a safety car involved, that could mean masses for KJ. He could be out of the championship contender, but it's still far from over as well. Fabi probably getting one of his best results of the season. Could be on for another podium as well, with him being so close on pace. Fenny has obviously left the session. He retired earlier on as well, but we're just watching Suku now. This is probably the closest championship fight I've ever seen as well, going down to the wire. I was not expecting it to go to the potential final few laps of this race. We thought that it would be decided like a few laps ago with KJ losing it, but no, we forgot that we still have Suku in the mix as well. I don't think he's close enough to Fabi, unfortunately. Same with Banner on Suku as well, so it's going to be really close.
I think the thing here is that actually KJ, someone's probably told him that it's Suku who has the fastest lap. Might not have it in a second, as KJ goes for a lap at some point, but the thing is, he's got a Ferrari lapping him. He's being lapped, I think, by their whole field at the minute. That might cost him the chance to go for the fastest lap, because this means that Suku right now is scoring 9 points. 9 points, and that would mean that he would move on to 54. Balner would be scoring... Geez, how many would he be scoring? He'd be scoring 6. And he'd also be moving on to 54. Ooh. But since Suku's won a race...
Yeah, so Suku would win on countback.
So Suku actually, as it stands, no matter what happens, if it finishes like this, actually, I think Suku wins the championship. A lot of this depends on whether KJ can get a fastest lap in. But the problem he's got is he's got blue flags. And I'm hoping, well, actually, do you know what? He's on a fast lap. He's on by far his fastest lap. It's by far the fastest lap. So...
Toxic got fastest lap.
I'll take it off. Has to pass Fabi again. That would mean Balner should be back into the lead of the championship again. My goodness, this is crazy.
A lot of calculations. A lot of calculations, I think, as well. So I think we're just going to have to wait and see until the end of the race. Here we go.
My goodness.
Yeah, I think we keep cutting out off each other as well, because my internet hasn't been as good today. So apologies about that, but let me get the fastest lap out. So at the moment, it looks like KJ has it. Yes, he has. So that could mean masses anyway. Fabi's dropped a bit of Ascom as well. So is Fabi dropping pace? I think he might be, you know. I'm not entirely sure. It may give Suku a chance to be winning the title as well. I'm about to start lap 31 of 36. This race has gone very, very quickly so far, so anything can happen. Ascom 1.1 second behind Georges as well, but even with Ruben leading the race, he's got 3 seconds of penalty, so George would be winning this race, and Ascom almost went for a move on Georges there for a minute there as well. Fabi's now... No, he's not in this train anymore, Fabi. Oh, yeah, he is. I'm getting the wrong intervals mixed up, so apologies about that. But we are starting to see the DRS train break up a little bit. Oh, I know.
Look at Banner here.
Banner as well.
He is out of ERS, he's out of fuel, and he is about to drop outside 3 seconds to the race leader, who of course is Ruben. That could be his championship. We've got to keep an eye on his time, because he's dropping off this, Jess. He's really dropping off it. He's got to get a move on, because he's only safe for the championship by 0.2 of a second. If Ruben keeps pulling away like this, Suko and Ballner could fall out, and that could hand it back to Cage, because then they'd only be scoring, what, 6 and 5 points each, and I don't think that would be enough. This really is going to come down to timing. This is unbelievable, because Fabi's got way more ERS than those two, and a much better toe on the two Mercedes, who've also got decent ERS. Ascom and Fabi could be the ones making the championship for Fabi, or for KJ, just simply by the fact they've got so much ERS. They're not going to get overtaken on that main straight. KJ is going to sit back and watch what happens. He's taken his fastest lap, but that's brought the safety car out. I think, because I don't know where he is, but he just brought the safety car out regardless. So that, well, it's going to let everyone save their ERS now. Ruben, I don't think he'll pull the gap now. I don't think he'll be able to pull the gap. So that might be that factor out of the way. So this will go back to, will Suko be able to pass Fabi? Will Ballner be able to pass Suko? Those are the guys to watch. I think they are really the only two people who can stop KJ winning the championship, and they have to do it with overtakes on the track, I think, on the restart.
Yes, and it does depend as well when, obviously, the safety car comes in, because it's going to take quite a bit of time for Luca and Toxic to catch up, potentially, as well. So I would say around about lap 34 would be, I think, when... Well, end of lap 33, I would say, is when the safety car could come in at the earliest. And then lap 34, I would say, is you got to have at least 2 green flag running. So I don't think they're going to have any DRS. So ideally, track position is vital. And if you're in one warning shy of a penalty, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble, because you'll be definitely pushing. If I was Ballner, I'll be worried right now. And interesting enough, we've got Georges in the pits. Well, he's got nothing to lose. He's a reserve driver. He goes on to the soft tyres, I believe. Wow. Benny is in as well. So is CC Brain.
This changes the championship again. I didn't think anyone would pit, but oh, for goodness sake. Oh, we didn't want to do any mental maths, but we're doing it. Right, let's see where it is puts then, because now Suko would be scoring 10 points, and Ballner would be scoring 8 points. So I think, actually, they would still end up being 1-2, and it would still end up being Suko from Ballner, I think.
I will do the maths whilst you do your talkie.
Nah, I don't think it would actually, because Suko doesn't have the fast lap anymore, so he'd actually need to get by Fabi still. He would, yeah, sorry, I'm forgetting about that fast lap point. So right now, if it finishes like this, it would end up being Ballner winning the championship, because he'd end up scoring 8 points. And that would put him on to... What would that put him on to? That would put him on to sort of 56. Suko would only score the 10 points to put him on to 55. So Suko has to pass Fabi to get himself onto 12 points to get on himself onto 57 and beat Ballner, who'd be on 56. If he passes Fabi. That's what he needs to do. That's Suko's task. And when the safety car comes in, I presume, probably at the end of the next lap, he's got, what, 2-3 laps to do that. Yeah. No DRS will get involved in this one, so he's going to have to do it.
He has to do it on track.
Pure driving skill.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately for Luca, I'm almost certain he's going to be a lap down, so unfortunately his championship chances is over, so I think it's down to really... I think 3 are still in this fight, even with KJ out of this, because anyone, Suko or Ballner, can make a mistake, but if it's on pure pace alone, it's down to Ballner versus Suko to see what he could do about this, and I'm excited to see what this fight could do, because obviously it'll be great if Suko could win this championship. It will be great if Ballner could win this as well, because none of them are... Actually, Suko has led a championship for, I think, for 1 race. Ballner hasn't, so that could be a little bit spicy, to say the least, as well. As I think we're just waiting for Luca to catch up, because Toxic's Master will be a lap down as Toxic pits again. fair play to Toxic for not giving up. He's, I think he just wants to have a little bit of fun, you know, on the final race on this game as well, trying to steal the fastest lap, because technically he's still on the points as well. Why would you not give up? He could get the fastest lap points. So with KJ retiring, that's a saving grace for him. So even though he's going to be a lap down anyway, he's still got some fighting.
Fabi's in the wall. Now, this happened last in the season 26. I'm getting flashbacks, folks. And Fabi can't overtake back, can he? Surely you can't overtake them back.
Oh no.
This is exactly what happened in season 26. It was Faster Racer on that day, and the safety car's coming in this last, so Toxic's gonna have the whole track to himself. Fabi has done what Faster Racer did. He's went off to Narnia. That means Suko has got to pass Ascom, and it's going to be for the race win now. And that would definitely give him the points. Nothing really changes for Balner and Suko. It's now that Suko knows exactly what he has to do. Win the race and you win the title. And we're about to go green again. And I think they've put their foot down. So this is it, folks. We're going to get 2 laps of absolute fantastic racing. If Ascom gets by his teammate, that could decide the championship right here. Those two, Mercedes 1-2, we've seen that pretty much never in this whole season as Georges gets through. He could involve himself because he's going to try and get Balner. And if he does that, then, well, you know what I'm going to say. It's going to change the points again. But that would probably demote Balner out of the championship position. A few more guys going side by side at the back. Luca as well on the soft. I don't really know how he's going to win the championship, but he's going to give it his best shot. Here's Georges all over Balner. I'm pretty sure if Georges gets through, that would be championship over for him. But we will obviously check the points after, because at the minute this would be the fight for P3, and that's a 2-point drop from P3 to P4. And that means Suko would have done enough, as Georges gets all over the back. It feels very Alex Albon-y, just trying to get through. And look at the exit the AlphaTauri's had. He's been so quick all day, Georges. Got the pole position. We know how good he is around here. And I think he's going to have to run up the hill. This is it, Jess. This is it side by side, and Balner's lost the back end. Nearly contact there. In fact, that probably was a good little tap. And he's derating on the way up the hill. They're both derating. Look out for the Ferrari and Benny. He's going to go round the outside of both of them. And now in the middle of both of them. He's going through into this crucial P5, which will become P4 after the penalty, as long as they don't hate each other too much, which they are doing. And that's going to put Georges through. Then Mercedes in the wall. It's Ruben. He's gone well off the track. Suko's up into second place. Georges third. Balner fourth. Balner's got to get through. He's got to do this for the championship. He's down the inside. He's making contact. He's shoving the AlphaTauri off the road. And that, I think, puts him in position. But look at Luca. Luca's putting himself right outside of his teammate as well. I said this would get quite exciting. Boy, I didn't think it'd be all this. How on earth did Ruben end up in the wall? I have no idea. But Balner, he had to get his elbows out, but right now it's going to be 12 points to Suko. It's going to be 10 to Balner. The gap between them is 3 in Balner's favour, and I believe that's going to mean we're going to see, probably very rare occurrence, a champion with no race wins. But let's just wait and see how this comes through, because Ascom, I've no idea if it was the 2 Mercedes coming together. There might be some sort of investigation after this, but as it stands, Ascom is going to come through, and he is going to win here in Brazil. Suko will come home second, and Balner is the champion, I believe, with only a 2-point loss to Suko and more than enough points to beat over KJ. So I believe our champion with 0 race wins is Balner.
Yeah, and all it took was a safety car, and to be honest, the championship couldn't get any closer than that. I need to see who gets fastest lap as well, because that can mean everything, and I don't think anyone inside the top 10 does. So Balner wins the championship over Suko by 1 point.
There's going to be some investigations here, because
yes,
the 2 Mercedes might have hit each other. We don't know. We weren't watching it. Balner got his elbows out and hit 2 or 3 drivers. That might cause a little bit of friction. So I hate to say this. This might go to the stewards. No. We love it when it goes to the stewards, but we've got to say, we've got to put it out there. I'm hoping that we can talk to them, because guess what? Our champion and our runner-up are in the podium positions, so we can invite them for a little chit-chat and see what they think about it. That's obviously whether they want to talk to us or not, but very much want to see what they have to say about it. Very much want to think about what the stewards are going to do as well, but my goodness, what a race. That was immense, that was.
Yeah, it's not the first F2 championship that could get decided by the stewards, which is not ideal, but watch out on the Premier Sim GL Twitter account to find out more information. But as it stands, Banner is your champion by 1 point, but let's go through your results. Ascom in first, Suka in second, Banner in third, and we got Georges, Fabi, Ruben, Luca, CC Brain, Toxic Tomato and Benny are your point scorers and finishers. Then we have KJ, Lamakina, Fenny and Lucas. And I need to find out if Racing Point have clinched the Constructors. I almost certain they have. They had a big gap going into this race anyway. So I won't be surprised if they have done it already even without that. So let me just have a look. Gap before was 21 points and only Banner's here. So yes, that doesn't change the Constructors. Racing Point are your PSGL F2 Constructors champions.
Well, we can certainly confirm the Constructors. That's not going to have the asterisk. The asterisk is definitely going to go over the Drivers' champion because since it's such a close gap, a single penalty would flip it on its head. As far as I'm aware, Suku didn't really do anything in that race that would warrant investigation. Ballner, of course, got his elbows out in the last lap. And there will definitely be some talk about penalties for that. I mean, I imagine the chat's already gone in on that one. So we'll see. We'll see what they think about it. And it's always a shame to end a chat like this, but at least she's got some action. But as Jess says, keep up to date on Twitter. We will let you know as soon as we do what sort of situation we'll end up with. But right, do you think we'll get any interviews today, Jess?
I really don't know. I think
they're angry.
Yeah, they're probably angry with themselves, to be honest, as well. So I'll ask in the chat as well. But it went down to the wire. It went down to the final lap. And again, it took a safety car. We had a repeat of season 26 F1 moment with Fabi replicating a faster racer. It was an Alpha. I think Faster was in the Alpha, I think, as well that season. So it was pretty much the same corner, same moment, which could change anything. But we will see. But it's nice to see a different winner of Ascom, of course. Very nice as well. That would jump him up in the championship. I think that would jump him to the top 10, and almost the top 10 of the standings. So that would be good for him as well. So very interesting indeed. So we'll see if anyone's waiting in the interview box. Doesn't look like it, does it? Which is a shame for the final race. I would want us to have an interview with the champ. It's either going to be Suko or Banner. It's not going to be KJ, unfortunately. It's going to be either one of the two after the steward. So want to hear from both sides anyway. But I think we haven't heard from anybody. So I think we're going to wrap up the stream there. So thank you so much for watching this season. It's come to an end now as well. It's been 10 great races. Obviously 20 great drivers as well. Shame we didn't end with a full grid, but at least we had a good championship decided to end it off as well. Some great races as well, and a lot of people to thank as well. Thank you to the drivers. Thank you to obviously the stewards as well for keeping the rules in good knit. Also, thank you to the league admins of CC Brain and Greeny as well for running the league as well. Without them, F2 wouldn't be like it is as well. And obviously, thank you to everybody else for watching. Obviously, thank you to my co-commentator, Owen, who's kept me on the straight and narrow throughout the whole season. It's been a lot of fun as well. And yeah, I really enjoyed being in the box with you as well. I wonder if we're going to be together next season or not. We don't know. We don't even know what tier we're going to be commentating next season. But we don't know. But it's been a lot of fun regardless, nonetheless. I've had 3 great seasons of F2. And what a season to end on, I have to say.
Absolutely, what a way to end it, and I do hope we'll be doing this again next season. I don't see why Connor would have any reason to break us up. I think we're doing a great job, you know, in my own humble opinion. But yeah, certainly thanks to everyone who watched as well. I saw the viewing numbers tonight. I know we have F1 to compete with, but it's nice to know some people care about the old F2 tier. So cheers for that, and I do hope you enjoyed the finale.
Yeah, I enjoyed the finale, and I know you have as well. And obviously, thank you to you guys for watching, because without you, there wouldn't be a stream as well. And we're on 2,000 subs as well, so that's a good way to end the game cycle as well. But we still have a championship decider on our hands as well, with Wilson versus Duncan as well. We don't know who's going to claim that as well. It's on Wilson's favour at the moment. But could Duncan do what Banner just did and spoil the party as well, where Banner and Suka has proven that you can? So we'll have to wait and see, of course. We will see you next season on F1 2021 for I don't know Grand Prix. We don't know when it's going to start. We don't know when it's going to, what track it's going to start at. But we do know we're going to be back on PlayStation next season. So thank you for watching. Thanks, Owen, for joining me this season. And well done to our provisional champion banner. But again, wait until the stewards to find out that one. I'll see if anyone's waiting in the booth. No, they're not, so we can wrap up the stream there. We will see you next season. Have a good evening and enjoy the final championship decider of the night. Who's going to claim the F1 title? We'll find out very soon. Goodbye.